I'm just at headquarters. I'm just doing a short video, right? And I'll try and be as simple as I can, because I've got an habit of going back and forth and not making much sense of it. I'm just questioning, right, the age of the Earth. Uh, how old is the Earth? Religious people will say it's 10,000 years old, and you kind of scientific evolutionists will say that the age of the Earth is 4.6 billion years old. Right now, you've heard my thoughts on the number 13, whether you've read them or not, but I've got my thoughts on the kind of age of the Earth, and I personally think all like our existence, right? Our story began. The human race began at the Great Pyramids of Giza, right? In 2000. Let me get me 2560 BC. Right, it's there. 2560 BC, right? But what I find interesting, right, personally, right, see what you think of this. Right, according to evolution, right, science, right, the age of the solar system is 4.567 billion years old, right? So 4.56 billion years old. Now, why I say, our existence began at the Great Pyramids of Giza, is because of my theory on the number 13 and 17. And the Great Pyramids of Giza is geographically at the centre landmass of Earth. It's geographically located at the centre. Right, and I've said before, no humans could have placed it at that location. People might say, right, that the Egyptians aligned it with the constellation Orion, right? So that's why it's located at that pinpoint. But they wouldn't have knowingly placed it geographically at the centre, spanning north, east, south, and west. They wouldn't have known that they placed it there so precisely. It couldn't have been no humans. It's completely illogical to think that they would place it at that location knowingly, so precise. It's too much of a precise nature for it to be someone on Earth. It couldn't have been. So anyway, so that's why I think you know life began at the Great Pyramids of Giza, and also the Great Pyramids of Giza is surrounded by 13 acres. But rather than talk about the number 13 and 17, if you've read it, right, if you find it interesting, good, and if you don't, then it's a matter of interest, and it is 6 hours long. Right, but the Great Pyramids of Giza, right, was constructed 2580 to 2060 BC. Now, what I've done, right, and this is what gives me the age, right, I calculated, right, 2560, right, so watch this, 2000, right, right, so there, right, 2560, and then I've plussed the year it is today, 2017. Right, so we've got there, right, that is the construction of the Great Pyramids of Giza, 2560, and I plus the 2017, the year it is today. And the age, according to science, is 4.567 billion years old, right? Now when we add this together, let's take off again, right, when we equals this, right, that gives 4,000, right, it gives 4,577. Now, is that just a coincidence? Is that a coincidence, right, that I calculated, right, 2,560, right, to 2017, the year it is today, and we get 4,577 years, right, put it into years, 4,000 connection here, right, 4,577, and the age according to science is 4,670 billion years old. So according to science, right, in 20, it's the age of the Earth, right, is 4,567 billion years old. And my calculations from the Great Pyramids of Giza, constructed 2,560 BC, when I add them two numbers, 2,560 BC, 2,560 to 2017, we get almost the same number, 4,077, and the age according to science, 4,567. So there's a difference of what? 10 years. According to science, 4,567, and by my calculations, to coincide with my thoughts on the number 13, and that's what I'm. Right, with this, you've got to read my theory on the number 13 and 17, and that's where the credibility comes in. You've got to read that to understand what I'm saying here. And it seems too close for it to be a coincidence. You know, that according to science, it's 4,560 billion years old, but according to my calculations, it's 4,577 years old. So that puts it near to more biblical age of the Earth. And look at that there. 2,560 BC, and the year it is today, calculates roughly just around, almost near the mark to the age of science. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because you know, I've shown you what I want to show you, but I think it's quite close for it to be a coincidence. You know, that it just happens to be exactly the rough number, apart from, according to science, it's billion years old. According to my calculations, the age is thousands of years old and not billions. And I'll leave it there.